Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Think, Learn, Do. For this episode I wanted to talk about an idea I had. I wanted to make something called monster stompers. It's basically just a little device that you would put on each shoe. And when you stomped, it would play a sound like, say, Godzilla stomping instead of your actual footsteps. I thought it was kind of a fun idea, not necessarily a new idea, but I could definitely see myself stomping at work and annoying my coworkers, so I was pretty eager to try it out. And it seemed simple enough, and boy was I wrong. So I tried to make a prototype using an Arduino. This is nowhere near an accurate representation of the circuit. We'll say this is our Arduino. And then I attached a speaker through a transistor. Once again, this isn't any kind of accurate circuit. This is a long time ago. I can't remember exactly how I did it, but I used a transistor to try and make it louder. And I also created just a simple switch using copper foil and some pieces of plastic I had lying around. So the idea being, you could complete this switch and you have the audio play. And then I just took it up with just a 9-volt battery for power. So I guess in hindsight it's kind of impressive that it actually worked. Well, it kind of worked. I could push on the switch, get some audio out, and it was all self-contained, but the audio was really quiet. I couldn't get it louder. And also another thing that really annoyed me about it was really bulky, and I couldn't figure out how to make it smaller so you could fit it actually on your foot. So there's that. Wasn't a great success, but today I do have a new idea I want to try. So since I felt at making the sound really loud while it was on the shoes, I want to take the sound and I'm going to move it onto a different device. So the only thing that would be on the shoe would be the microcontroller. That's my horrible drawing of a shoe. Then we'll have a way for it to signal to, say, the computer. Which has a very nice sound system that works very well compared to my tiny speaker hooked to my Arduino. And so once you stomp, it sends a signal to the computer, and the computer plays a very annoying loud sound for you. This seems a little easier since all we'll have on here is our microcontroller, our battery, and some kind of switch. And then all of the sound stuff's on this side. So it comes down to what we want to use for this to do our signal. I've had a lot of luck using a NodeMCU. It's basically a microcontroller with a Wi-Fi connection. They're pretty cheap. You can get them for about $5 on pretty much anywhere you want. Pretty familiar with it. I think that's what we're going to use this time. And for power, probably three AA or AAA batteries. It's still going to be pretty big, even with that on there, but right now I just want to go for getting it to work, and then maybe I can think about later how to make it smaller. The last thing is the switch. I'm thinking of using just a simple tilt switch, and these aren't very fancy. Basically, you have this hollow tube here, and there's a ball in here, and then you have some contacts here at the bottom. And when it's straight up, right, the ball rests on these contacts, and current can flow, whatever. And then when the ball's off these contacts, it reads as an open switch. before I went with the copper switch, right? And had a couple of wires coming off it, and there were two pieces of plastic, and then we had copper underneath. And so when you stepped on it, it'd make the connection and it would work. And it worked, but it was kind of a pain because you had to have it underneath your foot. Once again, a beautiful drawing of your shoe. It goes under your foot. You have to have some way to hold it onto your foot, and you also have these wires coming off. So it's not exactly a perfect solution, though it did work. But I think with this ball switch or this tilt switch, I can simplify it. The idea being, I'll have my microcontroller on top of the foot. By the end of this, I'm going to be really good at drawing feet or shoes or whatever these are. So I'll have our microcontroller on top. Then we can have the switch sitting here as well. And then probably the battery somewhere else on top. So much simpler. No wires coming down on the bottom, no switch underneath your foot. And how I think this is going to work is when you stomp on when you stomp, right? Let's say the ball is sitting at the bottom, and when you stomp, the ball will bounce up and down, bounce around in this tube, and the microcontroller will hopefully be able to read that this is changing state and realize you are doing a stomp. Once it realizes you're stomped, it sends the signal off to the computer, plays a loud sound. Really simple. I think this will work okay, but we'll find out, won't we? Now on the other end, I'm just going to, on the computer end, it's going to be the computer with speakers, obviously. Then I'll need a way to receive the Wi-Fi signal from the microcontroller, right? I'm thinking I'm going to go with NodeJS. I've got experience with it, and it'll be easy to set up. I'll just have a page that the microcontroller can do a GET request on. And once it receives that GET request, it plays the audio and everything's all done. So we'll see how it goes. So here we are, ready to assemble. Got my ESP boards, the NodeMCUs. Got some handy dandy tilt switches and some power. So to start off with, let's show you how these tilt switches work. So I'm just going to hook it up to my voltmeter, multimeter, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and you can see right now, pretty low resistance. The ball is sitting at the bottom of the tube, so it should be completing the contact. And you can see now that we're on the side, upside down, no contact, pretty much infinite resistance. Back up. Hey, look at that. We're getting low resistance. So that's kind of the idea behind it. Let's go ahead and get these hooked up. So the idea being is I'm going to connect one end of these to a GPIO. In this case I picked D1. The other end I'm going to connect actually to ground. So the nice thing is we're going to have that digital input. We're going to read it. We're also going to set it as an input pull up, which means that it's going to use an internal resistor to pull up the pin to positive. So that way, with it connected directly to ground, when the contacts are touched, that it'll pull it to ground and say it's low, and then when they're not touching, it'll say it's high. And we don't need any other resistors or anything. It's pretty handy. So this one I already programmed. We should be able to hook this just up and just have it work. Nice. How do I turn that up? Oh, I don't know if I can get it any higher. And that's pretty sensitive, so if I lift my foot slowly, we do get it. But that's annoying. I'm going to have to try and figure out how to make that less sensitive. But for now, it's working. That's great. Nice. There we go. Now with Wi-Fi it does take a second for it to connect, so no surprise there. Alright, let's go strap these to my shoes and try it out. Alright, here they are taped to the tops of my shoes. As you can see, it is the latest in fashion. Everybody's going to be wearing these, I can tell you. So let's see. You can tell I've definitely got some problems with bouncing. It's triggering multiple times. I thought I had some stuff in to defeat that, but apparently not. But overall, not bad. And they're also still very sensitive. We have to figure out how to make them less sensitive. But as far as being able to actually hear the stomping sound, I'm quite happy with it. And there's attempt number 2 at making what I call monster stompers. As far as how well it went, I'm glad this time that I actually got to be able to hear the sound from, several feet away instead of having to have it right next to my ear. So that's a success. Still pretty bulky. It would be fun to try and figure out a way to make it less bulky. The tilt switches worked okay. I mean, there's obviously problems with it, but I didn't have to have a switch underneath my foot, which I really liked. And I think next time, if I do a part 3 on this, or a third try at this, I'm going to be using these little spring vibration sensors. Don't know how well you can see that, but it's got a little spring in there, and to make the connection, you have to hit it. I think that would have worked a lot better. The only reason I didn't use it this time is because it's surface mount, and I just wanted to prototype this real fast. So maybe next time on the third try at this, I'll use those. It might work a little better. And I didn't get to talk too much about the software side of things, but basically it's just on the ESP side. All it does is connect to the Wi-Fi and then check the state if it changed on the state on these vibration sensors. It's pretty simple. Then on the NodeJS side, it literally is just the default page. This is the default index page, and it has like a play audio plugin installed. And whenever somebody hits that web page, it just plays the stomp sound. So not hard at all. So anyways, as far as successes go, I thought it was moderately successful. Still a lot to do to try and fix it up for a even more polished look, but thanks for watching.